Welcome back to the Hockey Hub as we take a look at this Bruins 3-game road trip, kind of early in the season. Not the only time they're going to be going out west. Obviously, they're going to do their Western Canada swing. But we don't have LA, we don't have the Ducks on there, so they're going to be going back out at some point. But for now, starting with a loss against Vegas, 6-5 in regulation. Then, Kasey, a couple back-to-backers. Tomorrow at Colorado, Sunday at Utah. And, yeah, got to promote that our pregame coverage starts an hour before at Nesson. All this means to the guys is that they got to stay up late when it's a 9 o'clock start. And they get sleepy, which means I got to bring the entertainment.
How's that? Having to reel everybody in, bring the energy,
bring the snacks. Let's go.
Snacks keep me awake, yeah.
I'm going to get your take because I'm just looking up the rosters right now. But give us a take. Where do you want to start? Colorado, Mammoth, Utah?
Let's start with Colorado.
Okay.
Yeah.
We heard Marina. Great guest, by the way.
I know.
Great guest.
I love the blogger energy, but like I said, like I don't think I gave enough credit to like her tweets. Like,
yes, so
like,
funny.
They're funny, they're fun, and like
smart.
They just really draw you in. Yeah, super witty. We know that we're a big fan of wit here on the Hockey Hub because I mean that's why we have dragged Pete Blackburn back a number of times. But yeah, like mentioning the fact that this is going to be a huge test and a good measuring stick for the Boston Bruins is more positive than negative.
Yes.
Because I feel like we've heard a lot of similar post-game pressers from Marco Sturm between the Tampa Bay Lightning loss and the Vegas Golden Knights loss. And it's the whole get back to our standard.
Yep.
And the standard being hard to play against. Well, you can't be hard to play against if you're allowing 4 and 6 goals against you. And that's not on the shoulders of Korpisalo or Swayman. That's more so just some kind of, I want to say, miscues with the new defense that's being implemented, the new system in totality. So like going against a Colorado team that's going to have some similarities to Vegas. For one, Vegas was really good with takeaways and making sure that like any loose pucks were theirs for the taking and that they were going to be in possession of these matters. And like that's exactly what Colorado can do. You got Nate McKinnon, which is one of the best skaters out there and very hard to keep off the board.
Oh yeah.
But then also like Cale Makar, he led in takeaways last season. I think it was like 58. So you're talking about another team that can make you pay for any sort of slip-ups, not only in coverage, but not being protective with the puck. And then you can continue to see who can make good strides. I mean, I want to give a little bit of a shout out to Mason Lohrei because the past 3 games that he's had have actually been quite clean for him. And like you've seen a nice step in a good direction from games 1 and 2 to games 3, 4, and 5.
I'm going to pay closer attention. How about that? Because when I'm watching a game, I'm making so many different notes, but I'm going to pay closer attention to puck.
You got to keep so many things
got to keep a lot in order. And then, you know, there's a lot going on. But puck management is not something I've paid too close attention to unless it's an egregious turnover.
Yeah.
You know, and we've seen that already with the Boston Bruins.
Yeah.
So, like, yeah, puck management's got to be up there. I just got to, like, compare it to how other teams are doing in the league with that. But we've seen some egregious ones where you're like, oh, my God, what just happened?
And it hurts your soul. It takes the air out of the moment. But then even for the more subtle ones, it's like last night, for instance, there was moments where it just felt like there was so much panic play happening. So you're seeing really aggressive passes taking place, which means there's not clean connections on the stick. So you're losing an opportunity just because of, like, pure panic in a moment. And I mean, none of us can speak to being in that situation, obviously, but those are just things where like I feel like the guys understand like, hey, when we take it down a notch, and they settled in throughout the game in moments and then they went back into that panic. So like, again, Colorado can copy and paste a number of things that the Vegas Golden Knights did in terms of just like being fast, being in control of the pace, forcing some of these mistakes. So that standard that Marco Sturm set that everyone is well aware of, that buy-in, like this is where they can just settle things down a little more.
Can we, it's not really in the lineup, but I want to go back to something that we were going to maybe talk about with Marina, but we were talking about her story a little bit. I brought it up with her. I think we didn't have our pre-game meeting or pre-show meeting like we always do, because sometimes Kasey and I will have a meeting and then we'll talk about what we agree or disagree on. Catch up. I think we're on different pages because I heard you say PK wasn't that good. So let's talk about that.
No, PK was good. Power play.
Oh, power play.
In terms
Okay.
of like how many opportunities got past them. So 2 shorthanded opportunities get through your power play, and you at least have 1 or 2 defensive capable guys out there. Like, yeah, that's going to hurt you if you need your power play to pick up a goal, and then shorthanded opportunities are coming in. Wild build cashes in, then another tidal wave of like a scoring opportunity comes by. So not that PK wasn't good, because surviving 5-3, 5-on-3, you're always going to get a hats off from me.
And then 5-on-4 for 2 minutes and 30 seconds.
Yeah.
It's like, that was wild. That was
no,
really
not
good.
PK.
Yeah. Okay,
I'll never
good.
disrespect our PK unit right now. They're killing it. But no, power play, like, you can't be giving up shorthanded opportunities time and time again.
No, and I'm so glad that they did score on the power play, David Pastrnak doing that. But yeah, it was 0 for 5 in Tampa, or versus Tampa. And again, when it's a 1-goal game, or when you're coming back, or when the momentum's on your side and you like get within one, and then you get a power play, that's like the cherry on top. That's like the ticket you want to punch, where it's like, okay, we're back. Get the other team on their heels, and I feel like the Bruins had a lot of opportunities to do that. But we're talking 5 games in. If we're 20, 25 games in and we're still seeing these kind of struggles, because it's a new system, because it's a new power play and special teams coach and Steve Spott, it's like, all right, because we are getting better looks, which is what we like. We are getting better looks, and the guys have talked about that even though you may not be scoring all the time on the power play, when you're creating momentum and chances when you're creating chances, that creates a little bit of momentum. But it's situational. Like I said, when you're within one or when you're tied, it's like, that's when you want to punch it in. So
send it home.
Yeah, send it home. Yeah.
And like, everyone can see things differently. I think some of the power plays that I've seen materialize for the team, like something that can also kind of take the air out from the situation, is like, you're getting a good passing sequence going on, and then you're losing the puck up at the top, and then it's going out of the zone. So now you're losing time chasing it. Like, that's happened a little too much for them in terms of, like, you're almost there to pack that punch, to send a message, and then it's just kind of like, oh, you lose the hold on the line. So, like, that's just little things where it's well within their reach to clean up. So that's why I'm like, some of the fans are like, season's over. I'm like, I'm nowhere close to that, considering all the good that we've seen out of this team. But, like, those are those little things on top of, like, defensive-wise, we got to see different.
Last thing I'll say about it, and then we can talk about the Mammoth really quick, but I may have been spoiled because, again, I came in the era where the Bruins were just like at the top, at the best, and just so close to winning another Stanley Cup. But you had Bergie, Pasta, Marchand. I'm trying to think, like McAvoy was up there, Torrey Krug, Coyle. Like, that power play was so... Krejci, yes. Was so good and so fun to watch, and so many threats, and they're figuring that out now. But it was just like, I'm kind of looking at one where I'm comparing it. I don't know if it's fair to compare, because it was just so good and so many threats. And so let's give it some time. Let's let it breathe. What do you want to say about the Utah Mammoth? I feel like you'll have a better read than I do, because I haven't been watching any of their games or really studying that roster. But
fun, young, and definitely can be dangerous. I've tracked Logan Cooley's career since he was with Minnesota. I mean, we've talked too much about Matthew Nyes, but he played on a line with Nyes and, Snuggerud, and we wanted big things for their career, and he's in a perfect place to kind of make an impact. So he's centering the second line over at Utah, but it's JJ Peterka. He broke my heart by choosing to go to Utah. I don't even know if Boston tried to pursue him at all, but I had every hope and dream that he would end up here, and he's feeling himself in Utah. That's the most dangerous thing. So you're also talking about a player that can be so deceptive with the puck and make sure that he's going to find a goal. So if they leave Swayman out to dry or Korpisalo out to dry, whoever is there, Peterka's the kind of guy that can be so consistent in that factor. And then Dylan Guenther, he's really fun to watch. He's so nonchalant about everything, but I mean, at one point he was leading the league in shots on goal through at least the first 2 or 3 games of the season.
Okay.
In totality throughout the NHL. And so this is a guy who's already such a centerpiece for Utah, but they've got quality guys that can make sure that they're loading up with shot volume. And then, I mean, this could be biased, but Mikhail Sergachev, I think, is tremendous defensively when in the right system. So, this could be a back and forth game. This can get pretty high scoring, but, they don't want it to be exactly what happened last night, where, they've got a good, they take the lead for a minute and they just give it back up in response. Yeah. And that's something that can go back and forth with Utah. I feel like that's exactly what we could potentially see if defense doesn't come in cleaner and protect their goaltender.
Are the Bruins going to take the next 2? Are they going to lose the next 2? Are they going to split? What do you think?
Oh, I have a feeling Utah can go into overtime.
Okay.
Yeah, I can see a 3-2 situation in Utah. Unfortunately, Colorado is just tough. I mean, if you just look at their centers down the way, McKinnon, Nelson, Jack Drury, I'm super high on him and his two-way kind of play, in Harvard grad, so he's from the area in a sense. And then Kelly there on the fourth line, they're going to be a very, very exhausting team to play against. So I could see a 4-2 loss.
Okay.
if everything pans out in the cleanup category, if we see the Bruins that played against the Capitals, then like maybe we're looking at a 2-1 situation.
Okay, yeah, I think they're going to split the next 2 games. I'd like to say they're going to win the next 2 games, but that's a little bold. Split the next 2 games. Guys, coming up after the break, we have a little segment called Tape to Tape, and we're just going to go over some of the big storylines, fun, serious, whatever, around the league so that you know what's going on outside of Bruins Nation as well. So Kasey and I will be right back with that.